You need to be more like a dog. We don't need a bunch of cats in here. Yeah, looking in the mirror. Do I look good? I got my extra bands on. I got my other shoes on. We need more dogs.
The New York Football Jets.
Some of the best young talent in the league.
This is one of the weirdest teams to try to do.
So you look at this team. You have Sauce Gardner, one of the best defensive players in the league. You have Quinnen Williams, one of the best defensive players in the league. You have Breece Hall, one of the best offensive players in the league. You have Garrett Wilson, one of the best offensive players in the league. All these guys.
Garrett Wilson is unfreaking real. The 3 games I flipped onto this team, it was like he was making wild circus catches in every one of them.
Garrett Wilson, I've been saying for years, Garrett Wilson is incredible.
He's wild, man. The stuff that he's doing out there is just insane.
Yeah. And then Breece Hall, when he's healthy, is unfathomable. Quinnen Williams is, I want to say quietly, but like everybody knows Quinnen Williams is good, but I don't know if people realize how good Quinnen Williams is.
I think he carries a lot of weight on that interior. Like, his tape doesn't flash as much as you expect, but I think it's because there's a lot of checks he's asked to cover in the run game that take away from how explosive he can be in the pass game, and he is on passing downs, clear passing downs. Like, you see him unleash it sometimes. It's just like, oh, okay, there it is. And it's like other times it feels like he's two gapping, or he's holding up a guy in front of him to keep a linebacker clean. He's being asked to do a lot of things that don't quite show up the same way on highlight reels.
Yeah, I mean, you look at those guys and you're like, some of the best at their position, and they're all like, none of them are on their second contract unless Quinnen Williams has already gotten paid.
I think he has.
Okay. But, I mean, Sauce is on his rookie contract. Garrett Wilson's on his rookie contract. Breece Hall is on his rookie contract. Mm-hmm. Those 3 guys are incredible. And then that's not even bringing in Aaron Rodgers, which we don't know what Aaron Rodgers is at this point.
Aaron Rodgers know what Aaron Rodgers is at this point?
No, but I'm not going to be the one to tell Aaron Rodgers he's not good.
Does it matter that Aaron Rodgers came in the building talking about everything needs to be about a championship, no matter what? Have fun at OTAs. I'll see you guys in a month. I'm going to Europe to do drugs.
I don't think so, because you know what Aaron Rodgers, when he plays, how good he can be.
Okay, and I'm honestly asking. I listened to a podcast by 2 former NFL linemen who asked this same question. One of them went, "Who cares?" And the other went, "No, that's bullshit." And so it's like, I think there's a lot of different ways even NFL players can interpret that.
Say what you want about his time in Green Bay, but when he was on the field, he always gave Green Bay the best chance to win. And to me, if he comes into my organization, I'm ride or die for him. And the fact that we saw nothing out of him last year whatsoever scares me just a little bit because of the age.
Yeah.
Because we just don't know.
The opposite of like he's about to go torched earth, which there's a small part of my mind of like Aaron Rodgers when he's doubted.
Okay, well let's look at this offense. With Aaron Rodgers doubted, they went out and drafted Braylon Allen. Talk about a compliment for Breece Hall. Braylon Allen. Perfect compliment.
Thunder and lightning.
And then they go get a Mike Williams, which, if Mike Williams is healthy, in my opinion, is a top 10 wide receiver. Pairing him with Garrett Wilson, which we already talked about, is an absolute freak. They go out and sign Tyron Smith, who 4 years ago, Tyron Smith couldn't stay on the field. Then he's sneakily just been back to his old form this last season and a half, to where he's been incredible at that left tackle position. But he is getting old, and he did show about 2.5 years of not being able to stay on the field. But for his first 7 seasons, never missed a snap. People were talking about Tyron Smith challenging Joe Thomas's consecutive snap record 7 years ago. And then all of a sudden, he went from never missing a game to missing like 12 games in a 2.5 year span. But then all of a sudden, just went back to not missing games anymore, playing very, very well, but he is getting older.
Well, even if he goes down, I do not think we're talking about a power run offense with Aaron Rodgers at the helm.
Well, Tyron Smith has never his strength has always been pass blocking over run game.
I'm not even talking about Tyron Smith. I'm talking about Tyron Smith gets injured.
Oh,
You're not talking about a power run offense, and you drafted the best pass blocking tackle in the class.
Yes.
Like Olu Fashanu, he was knocked down my board for his run blocking, but his pass blocking is about as good as it gets for a prospect. Like that's clean. You don't worry about that. So with Aaron Rodgers at quarterback, I feel pretty good about them at offensive tackle with Morgan Moses and Tyron Smith and Olu Fashanu just sitting behind them in case they need them.
Yeah. And then, I mean, you look at this offense and we'll probably have to get into the defense some more, but I look at this offense and it's like, if they're healthy, can anybody stop this offense in a late game situation? They have the ball, they're down 4, and they get the ball with more than a minute 20 left. Who's keeping this team out of the end zone if they're all healthy?
So I do have some questions with Mike Williams. And I mean, I know you say if they're healthy, Mike Williams hasn't really been healthy. Ever. You know, like, I mean, there's always questions about him. He's coming off a torn ACL right now at 30 years old. And that's a big cog in this. Like, no Mike Williams, you got Alan Lazard, you got Xavier Gibson, you got Malachi Corley, the screen master. Like, that. I mean, Corley has done some stuff.
That is the story of Aaron Rodgers' career.
No, it is. You're right. But, like, the story of Aaron Rodgers' career has also been coming up short in the playoffs. So,
I'm not talking about playoffs.
Okay, but so basically, I look at this wide receiver room. I see a room that isn't up to snuff with a lot of the rest of the league, despite having some of those the 2 of those star names. I guess that's where I'm getting at with the offense, where Aaron Rodgers might be able to make up for that. He has in the past, but if we're talking about how is this team going to get stopped, to me, the wide receiver room is the big flag.
Yes, but historically speaking, has Aaron Rodgers ever had a better offensive group around him than this? Because, like, you had the years of, like, Jordy Nelson, the 1 year of Cheeseburger Eddie.
Nelson, Greg Jennings, and Devontae Adams, I believe. He had all 3 starting at one point.
I don't think so.
It was really early in Devontae Adams' career. He was putting up like 400 yards.
I didn't think him and Jennings ever crossed. I mean, I could be wrong, but
I could be wrong too. I'm speaking purely off memory,
but
on that. But like,
this is also an argument I like to make. Like, would Jordy Nelson be Jordy Nelson if it wasn't for Aaron Rodgers? Because I make it's the same argument. It's like Miles Austin was an all-pro wide receiver for the Dallas Cowboys. Is Miles Austin an all-pro wide receiver if Tony Romo's on his quarterback?
I mean, maybe not. Tough to say. But so in 2014, they had Jordy Nelson, Randall Cobb, and Devontae Adams. It wasn't Greg Jennings. It was, but Randall Cobb put up 1,300 yards that year.
Yeah, I mean, I'm surprised Randall Cobb's not on this team.
He
was last year, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. But in the tight end room, I actually like what they got with Tyler. I think Tyler Conklin is a guy who doesn't get talked about enough. And
he was huge for Joe Burrow early in Burrow's career. Was it Tyler Conklin?
No, I think you're thinking of CJ Uzomah.
I am thinking of CJ Uzomah. Where's he at now? I thought he signed with the Jets.
He was with the Jets. I'm not sure he's in the league right now. He was always good when he was on the field, but he always had issues staying healthy. And then Rucker was a pretty high draft pick a year ago. Did some stuff in his rookie year, not a lot, but tight end's a tough position to transition through. Their interior O-line isn't exactly locked up. Like, I think Joe Tippmann's going to have a really nice second season after doing some stuff as a rookie. It's tough to come in as a rookie at center and really be good. But he showed a lot of good stuff as a run blocker and made growth as a pass blocker throughout the year when he was on the field. He missed a few games, but adding John Simpson at guard, he's questionable to me. Like, he's okay. But Elijah Vera Tucker next to him, as long as he's back healthy, coming off a torn Achilles, that's rough. So hopefully he's back to 100% for this team. If he is, I feel pretty good about this O-line. If he's not, the offensive guards get a little shaky for me. But you have the bookends and you have the center. I think you can figure it out, but it is a little bit questionable in my mind.
This team is it might be the most fascinating.
No, it's so interesting. Like this roster is just there's a lot of talent, but there's like some of these question marks too, where like some stuff hinges on a few guys making it work. And their defense was awesome last year. Their defense will probably stay awesome this year. Like looking at their defensive tackle room, Quinnen Williams and Quentin Jefferson left, but you had Javon Kinlaw, who was a proven pass rusher. Solomon Thomas, truthfully, Solomon Thomas is a joke to a lot of people, but he
the legend
flashes, man. He makes some flash plays that are fun. I'm not sure he's an every down player for you.
Quick trivia question. Where did Solomon Thomas get drafted?
Number 3 overall to the San Francisco 49ers.
Yeah, I knew you knew it. I just want to let the people know. Yeah, nobody talks about that. The San Francisco 49ers with no quarterback passed on Patrick Mahomes to take Solomon Thomas. And all they talk about is how the 49ers faced the Bears. And they also passed on Patrick Mahomes. So take that, 49ers fans.
I think that as long as Quinnen Williams is on the field, this defensive tackle room will be generally fine. He's just
Can you imagine?
Freaking monster.
Can you imagine if Mekhi Becton would have actually been good, like he flashed early on in his career?
It would have been something.
Dude, the dude mauled people.
I know.
His rookie year.
Flat out, just road graded people, man. Ran them over.
One of like the most dominant offensive tackles I've ever seen in my life his rookie year.
No, he was incredible.
It just got fat.
So this edge rusher room, I don't know what's going on with Haason Reddick. No one seems to know. Like maybe it's gonna play for them. Like it's weird. I'm sure he'll be out there come the start of the season, but I don't. It all feels really weird to me.
Do you need to give him a Nick Sirianni speech? Like you plant a flower and you watch it bloom, and then whenever the blooms turn purple, it's time to rush the passer.
Yeah, that's probably it. That'll work.
That's what he needs.
With him, I think this edge rusher room is pretty sick. Without him, I still like it. I think that Will McDonald didn't get near enough chances last year, and hopefully he gets more chances this year. Michael Clemens flashed here and there on tape. Jermaine Johnson and Haason Reddick, that's a good starting duo. They don't have like a specific guy who just kicks ass out there at the edge position. You know, they don't have a Nick Bosa. They don't have like a Myles Garrett. Like none of these guys are that level of player. When you got Quinnen Williams on the inside, you have guys who are going to get after the passer. And that's going to work.
Javon Kinlaw, if he's playing at a top end level.
Yeah. Like you have talent here. And I just want to see more of Will McDonald, if I'm being honest, because I loved him coming out of college.
West Virginia, baby.
At linebacker, you got C.J. Mosley having a bit of a career revival here the last year or two.
Yeah. What year is he in now?
I don't know, man. He's 32 years old.
He had a career with the Ravens.
Yeah.
And then he got traded, tore his ACL. He
got signed as a free agent. Signed as a free agent with the Jets.
Oh, signed as a free agent.
And then MetLife
tore his ACL. And then he took off the COVID year, didn't he?
Yeah.
Like, didn't even play. And
then he came back with a vengeance, man. He's played good football.
Then played well. Like, that was kind of shocking. But yeah, good for him. But yeah, he's good.
And then next to him, you got Quinnen Williams' brother, Quincy Williams, who is quietly
basically twins.
Pretty darn good linebacker. Like he doesn't get the credit he deserves. He's a good
and they have a defensive head coach.
Yeah. These guys fly around forcing fumbles too. Like these guys rip at the football like crazy. It's wild how many fumbles they were forcing in the games I watched.
Yeah.
And then you look at the cornerback room. This might be the best cornerback room in the NFL. Again.
Yeah.
This defense can take a lot. You can take a lot of liberties on defense with how aggressive you want to be, how much risk you want to take when you have cornerbacks like this who can lock down man coverage the way they do. Like you can play 5-on-5, 4-on-4, however many it is, and send the rest of the guys at times because you've got Sauce, you've got DJ Reed, you've got Michael Carter II. These guys are football players. Yeah, you got the CFL legend Quantez Stiggers. Best name in football.
Top 5 for sure. And
Isaiah Oliver's good depth too, and he can serve in kind of a dime back role. He can do some really versatile stuff back there.
Sauce Gardner has somehow ended up in this social media age of like people acting like he's overrated because so many people love him. Sauce Gardner's a dog.
Don't get lost in the sauce.
Don't get lost in the sauce. People try talking like he's already overrated. He's a damn good corner.
Yeah, he's about as good as it gets.
Yeah, like they show like 3 plays a year where like he gets beat, and I'm like, you found 3 plays where a corner gets beat? Like, dude, grab any corner in the league. Corners get beat. Like,
so as anyone knows who watches these cut ups that we do of each episode for each team, I go through games. I try to find, good moments for players and maybe some bad ones if I want to shine some light on like, okay, this guy might not be great, but there's good and bad in his tape. I went through 3 games trying to find a Sauce Gardner highlight, like a clear one, not to someone who's a tape junkie, but to someone who just wants to enjoy watching some football in the off season and see some plays that maybe learn a thing or two or just want to get to know the game a little better. I couldn't find one because nobody throws at Sauce Gardner.
Yeah, nobody.
Like, I went through 3 games and couldn't find like one good moment of like a pass breakup or him breaking on a football because he only had like 3 targets.
Yeah.
And they were off target. Like they weren't even taking the risk. It was wild. I've never seen anything like that. That's how good Sauce Gardner is.
Yeah, he's like Darrelle Revis.
Yeah, you just don't throw at him. At the safety spot, Tony Adams and Chuck Clark are the listed starters. Chuck Clark didn't play at all last year at 29 years old, but great name. I think these safeties they're fine. I didn't notice anything on tape that made me say, ooh, like that's not good. Yeah. Really, when your corners are this good, your safeties are probably playing a more specific role, and I think these guys are plenty good at doing that. Fill in the run lanes, being ball hawks in the secondary. Adams and Ashton Davis both had 3 interceptions last year. These guys are going to attack the football, attack the run lanes, and let the corners do their job. Like, I think that'll be fine.
So, looking at the team as a whole, is it Super Bowl or bust? Because you can't imagine Aaron Rodgers is going to be here for much longer.
How can it not be?
It's got to be.
It absolutely has to be. I'll take this a step further. If there's one team that should go out and get Brandon Ayuk, it's the Jets. T. Higgins. Yeah, I mean, I don't even think T. Higgins will be available, but like, if the Bengals get off to it, well, then again, will Brandon Ayuk even be available? Like,
yeah, I mean,
if either of those teams get off to a rough start for some injury reason or something, I think the Jets need to be calling about adding a real wide receiver threat to this team, because Corley, there's some nice stuff. I know he's like built a good connection with Aaron Rodgers so far in the offseason and all that, but like, I'm not sure Corley is a guy you want to rely on in a playoff game to make that catch, to get open, to separate. Like,
but the Aaron Rodgers factor,
maybe I'm wrong, but
the Aaron Rodgers factor is the crazy thing about that though, is because it's like this dude will make the 5th best receiver on this team his primary target. Like,
yeah, he'll do something. Well, he'll do that after they trade for Brandon Ayuk. He'll just be like, nah, I don't want that guy.
Yeah, that's probably what will happen. They'll trade for Brandon Ayuk, and then like somebody who had 7 targets leading into the trade will end up leading the team in targets after they trade for Ayuk. And he's like, thanks for the decoy. He'll say thanks for the decoy.
Xavier Gibson will lead this team in targets. Just watch.
After trading for a receiver.
Yeah. I mean, really though, like that's the spot where I look at this team and I'm like, you can figure out the guards. You have the bookends. You have the center.
They're gonna run.
You can make the guards work. And Vera Tucker, if he's back and healthy off that Achilles, is not even a worry. So like the O line, I'm not really worried about. Quarterback, we'll see. He's still Aaron Rodgers. Running back room, You got good talent there at the 1 and 2 level, and the whole defense. I feel like you're in a pretty good spot with. You might want a little more beef at D tackle, but when you've got Quinnen Williams, you'll be fine. It's just the wide receiver rooms. It's just that's the one spot where I see a weakness on this roster.
This might be the only team that in the AFC specifically that I might take AFC champs over Super Bowl for the sole fact that there's a pretty good chance they're going to be playing the 49ers and Aaron Rodgers can't beat the 49ers. So I might take
that logic.
I might take AFC champs at 10-1 value-wise over Super Bowl at 20-1 when you look at over-under 9.5, playoff minus 170, plus 138 to miss, one in the division at plus 185, AFC champs plus 1,000, Super Bowl champs plus 2,000. This might be the only team in the AFC where I like the AFC champs over the Super Bowl, because every other team in the AFC, I'm like, if I think they're going to win the AFC, I think they're going to win the Super Bowl. I'm like, they're not beating the 49ers.
Yeah, I mean, I you sold me. I'm on AFC champs plus 1,000. That is great logic. I'm here for it. And you know, I'm terribly sorry, Jets fans, but what would be more Jets?
Yeah, what would be more Jets and what would be more Aaron Rodgers? Like all of that cultivating together, like that is how the story ends.
Oh man, I for the sake of Jets fans' mental health, I hope not. But like,
I hate the 49ers.
I can see it,
and I hate Aaron Rodgers. That might be the worst Super Bowl in my cognitive life, other than Steelers Packers, my senior year of high school at Jerry World, where I had to watch Aaron Rodgers win a Super Bowl my senior year of high school against a team that I also hate. And I wasn't really cheering for anybody. I was just hoping that, I don't know what I was hoping for, but nothing. It was just bad.
You know what? I forgot about the Aaron Rodgers 49ers aspect. I really did.
Yeah. So starting off the season, we both have 49ers beating the Jets in San Francisco. After that, we both have the Jets beating the Titans. Then the Jets beating the Patriots, Jets beating the Broncos, Jets beating the Vikings,
and then the
Jets beating the Bills.
Game part 2.
Yes. Jets beating the Bills. I have the Jets beating the Steelers in Pittsburgh. Q has the Steelers winning that game. Then we both have the Patriots winning week 8. I have the Texans week 9.
Taking the Jets on Thursday night at home.
Give me the Jets here. I gotta bring the Texans down a little bit. We both have the Cardinals week 10. Then we both have the Jets beating the Colts. We both have the Jets beating the Seahawks. We both have the Dolphins beating the Jets. Then I have Jets. Q has the Jaguars week 15. Week 16, I have the Rams. Q has the Jets. We both have the Bills week 17. Then we both have the Jets week 18.
All right, so that brings you to 11-6. And
I think
I'm
that
at
brings me to
12-7.
Is that saved? I thought okay. 11-6, 10-7. Yeah.
You play to win the game. Hello? You play to win the game. You don't play to just play it.